Okay, so in this session, we will start with the digital forensics. So, digital forensics is the branch of cybersecurity only, where we play with the evidences. So, it is also the part of the incident response team. Okay. So, this forensics involves using investigation and analysis technique to uncover systems or disk device activities. So, it is used for legal compliance, internal inquiries, incident responses, and even intelligence efforts. So the part covers legal holds, data preservation, challenges in cloud forensics, acquisition, and methods in ensuring code admissibility and cloud provider agreements. So the latter part deals into the tools like reading. So this part is all about this forensics is all about the legal compliance. What is it? First? We will discuss what is forensics. What is the process of doing the forensics analysis? How many techniques and tools are there? And what are the popular tools we have? Then we have cloud forensics, and then we have some like we like and who uses forensics. Basically, forensics are used for this forensics is used by the cyber cell, which is the cyber police. Also, many companies use as a part of incident response, and many intelligence used for the data for the information gathering. Okay, so this forensics concepts. So digital forensics encompasses techniques used by organization for various purposes, including legal responses, internal investigations, and incident management. So forensics is the part of cybersecurity. So forensics is like part of first forensics only, which is a different part where you can play with the evidences. Okay, and you work for the government. And second is for private organization where you are the part of the incident management team, where you act as a forensic leader. Okay, so the main purpose of forensics is to gather the evidences, which we can use for finding the like for solving any case or finding the like who is behind the attack or what is the cause of attack and everything. Okay, or to solving any case. So including legal responses and internal investigations and incident management. So the acquisition and analysis of digital forensics data, which can range from drives to memory copies, is a key aspect. So what includes in the forensics? So in the forensics, we have basically in the forensics, we mainly deal with the hardware. Okay. So we deal with the hardware first. Okay. And then the software. So in the hardware, we deal with the motherboards, the chips, the let's say if you have a broken phone, then how you can like retrieve the data or how you can fetch data from that phone or from that system. So in that case, hardware is come. So like hardware is like we should have the knowledge of the motherboards, the hardware parts, the chips, the architecture of any system which we are investigating. So hardware is very important for the forensics because we have to take the data backup which we can use for the evidence collection, right? And second is software. So we should also know about software like operating systems, Linux, Windows, and Mac. We should know the architecture of these operating system, how they work, and what are the parts in these operating system. Like for example, in the Windows we have registries. In the Linux and Mac OS we have the entire file system. So we should know where the victim can gather the like put or hide the data, or where is the confidential information stored in the OS. For example, in the Windows, we have the SAM folder where the passwords are stored. In the Linux and in the Mac OS, we have etc shadow file where passwords are stored. So we have to also check those files where the confidential data is stored. Okay, secondly, we should know about the tools and techniques which we can use for analysis. Okay, so first, hardware information, hardware knowledge. Second, and in the hardware knowledge, we should know about how we can basically back up the data or we can fetch data from a broken phone or how we can fetch the deleted data, etc. Because whatever we remove, it is not removed forever. We can easily back up the deleted data, even from the recycle bin as well, right? So basically, we should know how we can, data backupping is a main aspect of the forensics. If you know how to take backup or backup in the sense how you can retrieve data from the hardware or from any software. Okay, where the data doesn't exist or the data is removed by any attacker. Okay, so data backup in the data from those devices or fetching the data is very important. So that if we have the data, then only we can collect evidences. If we don't have any data, so how we can manage or collect the evidences, right? So forensics deals with the hardware as well, software, operating systems like and many other applications. Okay, and as well as we have social media accounts, how to fetch chats from the social media accounts if the chats are deleted, etc. So we should know, as a forensicator, we should know these aspects. Okay, so planning data collection strategically is vital with documentation and analysis following the collection process. So we have a full process of how we can start the forensics analysis, starting from the collection of data, then detailing the records, whatever the records we have, identifying the patterns, okay, and leveraging timestamps. So timestamps are also important that for the events, like which event or which file is modified when, etc. So we should know about the time as well. And metadata contribute to a comprehensive understanding of events. What is metadata? Metadata is the data about data of data, we can say. Metadata will gives the information about the data only. Okay. So that, for example, let's say you have a file. So metadata is the information of that file. Okay, so that is known as metadata, data of data. So planning data collection. So forensics starts from planning the data collection. Okay, plan or how we can collect data, how we can identify, how we can collect the records. Okay, then we have to identify the patterns according to the case which we are investigating because there are like lots of patterns. So we have to identify as per the case. Okay, and leveraging timestamps. So we have to note down the timestamps as well, the modification time, the creation time, the deletion of any record or any file. So we have to record all those times. Okay, and metadata. So metadata will give the extra information about the data. So that is also a biggest contribute in the forensics. Okay, so human interaction is also important in the forensics. Okay, let's say you are working in a cyber cell. So in that case, forensics is important. Okay, like online forensics is important, but human interaction is also important. Like you have to investigate humans or the victims, or we can say whoever is like involved in the case. So you have to investigate those also for information gathering. So you have to understand the human behavior or human expressions, etc. But that is not the part of the forensics. That is the part of the entire like case, we can say. Okay, but this is not the part of the digital forensics. So digital forensics include playing with the evidences, okay, and finding the evidences, backup in the data with the or and also have the knowledge of the hardware and softwares. Also, like we should have the knowledge of identifying the patterns, etc. Then legal holds and e-discovery. So we have various restrictions in the forensics. Like we have high rules for the forensic. For example, if you are a forensicator and you are working for a government agency or any agency like private agency as well. So for that, you cannot modify the data. The data, oh, sorry, we can say evidence. The evidence should be as it is. We cannot modify the data. We cannot change the data. If you change the data by mistake, even by mistake, you have to face the consequences. That is a legal holds an e-discovery. So whatever the evidences we are gathering, we have to secure, we have to keep secure. Also, we cannot modify that data. Okay, we can make the multiple copies, and then you can start investigating on those evidences. Okay, so legal holds are initiated in anticipation of litigation requiring organization to preserve data potentially relevant to legal matters. So failure to do so resulting in the alteration or destruction of the evidence can have negative legal consequences because evidence is the main key for any case. If you remove the evidence, or if you anyone like alter the evidence, then how we can prove someone guilty, right? How we can solve the case. So that is why evidences are very, very important in the forensics. Those are the main part of the forensics. Okay, so the electronic discovery reference model, EDRM, outlines 9 stages for the discovery process, including information governance, identification, preservation, and collection, processing, review, analysis, production, and presentation of data. So first, we have this one, information governance. So it is like we have to inform the government that we have the data, right? Then we have to identify, we have to preserve. Now, after the data or after the evidence, we have to identify which evidence is useful, which evidence is not. So we can also make multiple copies. We can preserve that data in a particular place. We can store in multiple locations. Okay. Then with collection of data and processing the data. Processing is like transferring the data from one place to another. Processing for analysis purpose as well. Then we review the evidences so that we can solve the case. And then analysis of the data and production. And then production is like given to the higher authorities. And presentation is like creating a report of the data. Okay. So these are the stages of EDRM model. So preserving electronic information, especially subject to legal courts or discovery, is challenging. Because let's say if you have the evidence, if you have the information, then and that information can be let's say that information is very confidential or very crucial. So any attacker may tries to hack that information or modifies the information. So we have to preserve the information or the evidences very securely. So that is also very challenging, like where to secure, where to put data, who to trust and whom not to trust in a particular case, etc. So particularly when users regularly modifies data. Tools exist to assist with data capture and tracking, often involving desktop, mobile, and server agents. So we have various tools for preserving the data. Okay, some are cloud-based, some are commercial, some are free. Okay, for example, for the Android, we have the App Vault. For the for the systems, we have Google Vault, and we have multiple tools for preserving the data. Also, we can preserve in the cloud locations to different trustworthy cloud vendors. So that is very important. Evidence is like way more important than conducting the forensics. So how we can conduct digital forensics? So digital forensics involve acquiring and analyzing data using tools like disk and memory imagers, image analysis tools, and low-level editors. So the acquisition process is guided by the order of volatility, which ranks data based on its likelihood to be lost due to system operation. So understanding this order helps ensuring the complete capture of the relevant data. So different types of data targets are considered, including CPU, we have registers, then we have FFML data, RAM, and then we have swap page, file information, file on disk, then we have operating system, and then device. So basically, volatility means we can say that the preservation of data, or like how we can back up the data from a particular device. For example, in the CPU and registers, we cannot back up the data because they are on the bits level. So that is we have the least we have the most volatility there. Okay. Then we have routing table, ARP cache and process table, and kernel statistics. So we can somewhat back up the data or fetch the data from there. But if someone modifies the bit, then we cannot fetch the data. Or someone, let's say, remove the that ARP cache or any routing table and keep on modifying the table. So the bits also keep on modifying. So there's a myth in forensics that every data can be backup. That is not possible. If any attacker or if any user keep on modifies the data, keep on modifies the any evidence or any data, so the least bits can also be modified. If the bits are modified, then you cannot back up the data. Then you cannot do anything. So means the data is lost in that time. So there's a myth that it is not like always possible that we like always fetch data from anywhere. So that is not always possible. Okay. Then we have system memory, RAM. So we can fetch some kind of data from the RAM. Then we have
Ma'am, what is that myth?
temporary.
What you said?
Sorry.
Always we cannot take it back up from. You said right any one myth. What is that one?
Myth is that the attack. There's a myth in the forensics that the every data should be fetched from any system. Like let's say if the data is deleted, or if the phone is broken, or whatever the system is broken, then we can easily fetch the data. But that is not possible. We so it
Okay.
is a myth that the data should be backup at every time. That is a myth. Data should be backup. Yeah, it is fine, and we can also backup data, or we can fetch data. We can also fetch deleted data. But the thing is, if there's a attacker, and the attacker or any user, if the users keep on modifies the data, keep on modifying, so the least bits of the data should also be modified. So they are also modifying with the data. And if the bits are modifying, then we cannot fetch the previous data that are stored in the systems. Okay, for example, there's a file 1.txt, and there's something written in this file. Let's say hello. Now the attacker is keep on changing the contents of that file. So now we cannot if the attacker is keep on changing the file, or keep on changing the contents of the file, then in that case we cannot to fetch the previous contents of the file, because the attacker or the user is keep on changing. So it is like he or she is keep on modifying the bits. And if the bits are modified, then we cannot do anything. Then we cannot back up the data. Then we cannot fetch the evidence. That is like near impossible. Okay. Then we have system
Okay.
memory, which is RAM. So we can fetch somewhat data from the RAM as well. Then we have temporary files and swap space. So we can also fetch temporary files, that is temp files, and swap space files, which are stored in the temporary location of the system. We can also fetch that. So it is like high to low chances. Sorry, low to high. So here we have like low chances of fetching the data from the CPU cache and registers, because they are working at a bits level. Then we routing table, ARP cache, and kernel statistics. So we can easily fetch the data, but there's a chance that if anyone modifies the table, or anyone modifies the cache of the ARP, or any process table or kernel statistics, then we cannot fetch the data. We cannot fetch the previous data that is required for any investigation. Okay, so there's a chances is also less. So, but it is more than the CPU cache and register. So it is like least to most, like how many chances are there to back up the data from these particular systems. Okay, so the least chances are there, then we have this one, more chances than first one. System memory, we can also fetch the data from the system memory, but also there's a low chance. Okay, but more chance than CPU cache and routing table. Then we temporary files. So there's a chance we can fetch the temporary files. As you know that users are keep on deleting the temporary files and swap space files. So we can also fetch the files from there. Okay, like we can fetch the temporary files which are deleted by the user. Data on the hard disk. So it is very easy to fetch the data from the hard disk. That is easy. Then remote logs. So that is also easy. Okay, it is way more easy than the fifth one. So we can also fetch the data or the remote logs from the remote server. Then backups. Backups are the pieces of data only, right? So it is like from least to most. Okay. So volatility is, yeah, volatility. Yeah. That means that we are yeah. That means that we are how many chances are there to fetch the data from the different devices. So these are high, like these are chances from least to most. What's that? So preventing malicious USB cloning and data acquisition is important, with USB data blockers serving as a safeguards against unauthorized data transfer while allowing charging. So firmware often accessible through hardware interfaces or memory forensics techniques. So basically, we have the USB cable. For example, you have the charger. Okay, like we have C-type cable. We have we have that iPhone cables. So that cables are also can contain the virus. Okay. So let's say we have the cable here, the first part of cable, and then the second part of cable. Okay. This part is plug in the phone and this part is plug in the charger. Now this part, this both part can contain any malicious chip, which can transfer the data from your Android to any other like system. Okay, so there's a like a chance of malicious USB cloning. So always use your own charger or always use the trusted pen drives or USB. So firmware often accessible through hardware interfaces or memory forensics technique. So it is occasionally targeted. So forensics practitioners increasingly encounter snapshots from virtual machines, network traffic logs, and various artifacts relevant to investigations. So basically, we have virtual machine snapshots, we have network traffic logs, we have network capture files, we have various logs and artifacts which we can use for the investigation. So there are like many things which we can use as a evidence. For example, first we can have the logs for investigation. Okay. Second, we have the data for investigation. Third, we have the images for the investigation, not that images, that is like FTK images, or we can say the images of the hard disk, which contains the entire data. Okay, which is also which is removed previously. So these are some logs. We have some data and then images. And also we have some um, like USB to identify, like USB to investigate if any USB is involved in the case. Okay, and we have virtual machines to investigate. So they are like various things to investigate. Also the PCAP file, which is WIRESHARK files. Okay, so maintaining chain of custody documentation is crucial, especially when legal cases are involved. Admissible evidence in court requires relevance, reliability, legality of acquisition, authenticity, and intactness. So basically, whatever the data we have, that should be legal, that should be reliable, that should contains integrity. Okay. And because we have to present the data or the evidences in the court, and that evidence will prove the person guilty or not. Okay. So forensics analyst must demonstrate appropriate skill, tool usage, documentation, and adhere to auditable procedure to ensure the repeatability and reliability of their findings. So forensics analysts should know about the tools, techniques, documentation, reporting, hardware knowledge, software knowledge, architectural knowledge, system knowledge, backupping knowledge, etc. And how to present the data so that we can solve a particular case. So these skills are necessary for any forensics analyst. So it is a like documentation, like example of our documentation which we can use. Okay, here we can have the case number which is currently running, and then we have item number. Like in the forensics, we have many items. Let's say you in a particular case, you have got a PC, mobile phone, pen drive. So these are three items. So you have gathered evidence from different items individually. Okay, so that is you have to put item number there. The evidence description. Okay, what is the evidence is all about? Collection method, which method you use, like evidence storage method. Okay, like in how this evidence secured, what kind of encryption you have used, where you are storing the evidences, all details you have to put. Okay, and some more details here. So that is important. Like for a forensics analyst, you should know about like mainly forensics is a very tough path in the cybersecurity because it is all about evidences. Okay, if you unable to find any evidence, then they will fire you. If you unable to find, if you modify the evidence, they will fire you. If your evidences are not up to date or not correct, they can also fire you. So there are like various chances. So they are like high risk in the forensics. Also, if you even modify or remove the evidence, then also there's that some legal consequences, like you have to pay some penalty, or they can also put you in the jail. Okay, like there's a law in India, where if you modify the evidence, then you can have like around 2 to 3 years of jail. Also, you have to pay some lakhs of money to the government. So there's a rule there. So that is why forensics is not the easy path in the cyberspace. Like also you have to know about like multiple parts of the security, like for hardware, software, web penetration testing, and then CEH. And also you should know about hacking, about protecting. So they're like a lot more in the forensics. You should be expert in different fields about the systems, about architectures, about programming languages, etc. Then with cloud forensics, the shift to cloud services has introduced new challenges to forensics analysts. So also we have, if we are having cloud services, let's say any user is storing the data on the cloud. So you have to also investigate the cloud storage. Okay. So how? So we have these terms here, right to audit clauses. So basically, let's say there's a vendor, Amazon AWS, and you have stored your data on that Amazon Web Services. So in that case, now whenever you are storing the data or whatever, you have to sign an agreement, or you should know that like if in case of any threat, in case of any attack, in case of any legal compliance, the organization should like collaborate with you so that they can find the evidences. Okay, the organization, the cloud service providers, they openly support your organization to find the evidences, etc. Okay, because there's like some cloud providers which restrict user or the legal authorities to find the data in their cloud services. If the data is or even if the data is of that organization. So before putting your data up, before using any services, any cloud services, you should know these 3 points. So first here we have right to audit clause. So they are like contract provisions granting the ability to audit cloud provider in any case of urgency. Okay. In any case of like attack, in any case of threat. So we have the right to investigate or audit the providers or use a third party audit agency. Auditing is all about checking the cloud services. So smaller organization might not secure such clauses, instead relying on third-party audit statements from providers. Okay, so audit is all about checking for the vulnerabilities, checking for the bugs, checking for the security level, checking for the policies, checking for the guidelines of the cloud service providers, like what kind of frameworks they are using in their while protecting the user data, etc. So a small organization, they cannot arrange the internal auditing. So that is why they rely on the third party auditors. Addressing specific audit needs in contracts and evaluating the provider's willingness to facilitate audits can influence cloud adoption decisions. So that is very important. If we have the report of the auditing, and if we find that something is inappropriate, then we can simply put that in the SLA. SLA is a kind of document which is signed by the customer, or which is like a kind of customer, what we can say, it is a kind of or it is created by customer only, so they can put the whatever the requirements or whatever the requirements or whatever the security approaches any company should follow. Let's say I am the cloud provider, now you are my customer, now you will sign a SLA, you will create a SLA for me. So like there might be some point where you can put like this thing needs to be improved, or you can put like some agreements, like you have to follow this, you have to use this encryption, then only I will take your services. So that is SLA, which is mainly created by the customer so that they can demand some extra uh, like extra features, okay, or extra security, whatever. So second, we have regularity and jurisdiction concerns. Cloud adoption involves navigating varying regulatory requirements. So that is also depends on the company or also depend on the country. Like let's say if you are taking the services, let's say you are from Dubai and you are taking the services of USA from any cloud service provider from USA. So now the laws will be different in your company, in your country as well as in the USA. So at that time, you can face some laws, some conflicts in the laws. Okay, so before taking any services, make sure that laws should be clear. Okay, so data breach notification laws also differ. Necessitation lowers breach notification clauses in contracts to ensure timely information dissemination. So basically, if there's a data breach in the cloud services or in the cloud service servers, then there's also the different laws for notifying the users that a data has been breached in different countries. So that is why we have to be aware about the laws of different countries. Let's say you're taking the services from different countries, so you should know the laws of that country so that in the future they may not collide. So data breach notification laws, that is, these laws differ internationally and even among states in the US. So basically, it is all about like when to notify the users or the customers that the data is now breached or the all the systems are hacked. So we have different laws. Some countries, we may the cloud service providers or any company like immediately like notify the customers that there's a data breach, and some companies hide some this data breach attacks. Okay, so it is very important to that you should know about the laws of that country. So while it's unlikely to acquire forensic data directly from providers, organization must have incident and investigation plans that don't rely on traditional forensics method. So if you have even some cloud providers cannot allow you to access their data. So you can also file a case against those providers or file a case, and also you can follow a regulatory and compliance. So you can just like you can put like you can file a case so that you can act legally. Okay, so in that case cloud providers also have to provide the information because that is now legal. Okay, so and also it depends on the country, like your case location, your connection, etc. That is also matters. Okay, like let's say you are in different country and you want to fetch the data of any cloud provider of different country. So first you should need to know the law of that country. Secondly, you have to file a case. Then third thing, you have to go there and fetch the data. So it is a like a complex process. So always we prepare before taking any services from the cloud vendors. Make sure that they agreed upon this clause, which is right to audit, regularity, and data breach. Then we acquisition tools. So to acquire forensics computer drivers or devices, various tools are used as we discussed in the security plus exam. So we have three tools which we will discuss in the as per the exam syllabus. So first we have this one GD. It is a Linux tool, and FTK it is a Windows tool, and we have WinHex. So DD is a command line utility in Linux. DD allows for bit copying of devices. Okay. Parameters like input location, if and output location off are used. Like which what kind of input or what kind of uh, like uh, like which drive you want to like perform the data. Like which drive you have to like make an image of that drive or any input location. It can be any drive, it can be any file, it can be any directory, and the output location where you want to save the image of that file or any drive, along with flags for specific actions. Hashing using MD5 can verify the image integrity. So basically, we can use hashing for the image integrity. If the hashes match, then we can say there's an integrity. If the hashes mismatch, or they're like unmatched, then we can say uh, there's a some kind of modification made in the evidences or the in the image. Then we have FTK image, a free tool, and it is for the Windows, and it supports various formats such as RAW, DD, we have Smart, we have E01, we have AFF. So these are the formats which is supported by FTK image. So FTK image is used for, it is a very powerful read tool, and it is used for capture the data from the physical or logical drives. Like from the physical drive, it can be hard disk or it can be SSD. And from the logical drives, it can be the folders and drives and files, etc. So it is also capable of capturing live memory, offering a GUI for configuration. So that is why it is a open source, like it is a free tool, so we can use it for free. So you can create an entire image of a drive. Let's say we have different drives. We have C drive, we have D drive, we have E drive. So you can create a whole image of the C drive, and you can then you can investigate that drive on in the FTK image. Okay, even you can transfer the image to anyone else. So here we have this one drive image verify results. Okay, this is the name of the image, set the count, etc. Okay, these are the hashes. Third, we have memdump, which is a volatility framework. So part of the volatility framework, memdump, which is a memory dump, is a command line tool that captures Linux memory using process IDs, aiding in the Linux memory forensics. So just remember the tool and their purpose and where they are used. Okay, means memdump is used in Linux, FTK is used in Windows, and DD used in Linux. So just remember the where they are used and the purpose of these tools. Then we have WinHex, so a disk editing tool. So it can acquire disk images in a raw format or its own WinHex format, which is hexadecimal format. It's used for reading and modifying the data from drives, modify rates, sorry, memory rates, arrays, and file systems. So WinHex is like first you can gather information. Secondly, you can also modify the bits there. Okay, you can also modify the hex bits there. Okay, like hexa decimal there, so that you can modify the drives or memory. But modification is not are not good because modification will like change your evidences, and that is illegal kinds. So while these tools are mentioned, it is important to note that security exam emphasize broader concepts over specific tools. So these are the four tools which is a part of the exam. Just remember the definition and where they are used. Apart from this, that we have many tools like NCase, FTK, we have autopsy, we have volatility, etc. These are some open source. Okay. So for the network forensics, we have different tools. For the Android forensics, for the mobile forensics, we have different tools. So it depends on what kind of system we are investigating. Then acquiring network forensic data. So network forensics is crucial in modern investigations, encompassing various types of networks like wired, wireless, and cellular. Okay, so first we can, for the forensics, network forensics, first we can monitor the traffic so that we can have a PCAP file. So we can easily tell what kind of network we have and if there's anything malicious in the network or not. So it is important to have monitor the network on the regular basis. Okay. Second thing is capturing interface network traffic in advance is essential due to its ephemeral nature. While packet analyzers like WIRESHARK aid in viewing captured network traffic, artifacts such as firewall logs, IPS or IDS logs, email server logs, etc. also provide some insights. So in the forensics, what we have to look for? We have to look for the PKF file, which is Wireshark files, which is used for the capturing and monitoring the packets of the network traffic. Second, we can look for the firewall logs and IDS and IPS, etc. One second. So network tabs span ports and port mirrors used for network security. So these are the valuable in network forensics as well. So these methods enable copying network traffic to collection servers. Although it can lead to massive data volumes, most organizations capture specific traffic for designated purpose rather than general practice. So it's all about the company. If the company is large, then you can schedule the monitoring, you can schedule the network capturing. And if the company is small, then you can go do on the regular basis. And if your company is vulnerable, then you have to do it on the regular basis, irrespective of the company's large or small. So it depends on the scenario, like different scenarios. Also, the budget of the company, like if the system, if we have the required members in the company for monitoring 24 into 7 hours. So that depends on various factors. But if we have the file, then we can easily investigate. If we don't have any file, so how we can investigate? So that is why always preferring monitoring is always like a good idea because we can have the file of the entire traffic. We can have the logs. So we can easily analyze what is going on in the network. So most organization capture specific network. That's complete. So acquiring forensics information from other sources. So now we can use we have okay, acquisition, where we have virtual machines. For example, I have Kali Linux, Pareto-S, etc. So these machines also we can perform many operations with these machines. So we have the snapshots of these machines. If we have the snapshot, then we can like see like the state of the VM machine and what is the feature of the like what the user is performing in that VMware machine, etc. So we can gather everything with the VMware snapshots. Okay, for example, we have this feature here in the Oracle VirtualBox, this snapshot feature. When you click on this here, this feature, this is snapshots. So now, and also we have logs here, we have activity, and here we have file manager. So we can also gather information from the VMwares. Then we have container aggregation, which is containers designed to be ephemeral, share resources, and leave fewer forensic artifacts than traditional machines. Okay, capturing and restoring them to a forensically sound state is challenging. So basically, containers are like we can say, for example, we have the bootable USBs. Okay, like we have some bootable USBs, or we have some live operating system. So we cannot, gather the entire data from those live USBs or live operating system. That is kind of difficult. Okay. So that is, if you want to read about container, then you can use this link here for it is a YouTube link. So you can read about containerized environment forensics. Then we have validating forensics data integrity. So integrity is very important in the forensics as evidences should not be modified. So that is what we are achieving here. Integrity, non-reputation, provenance. Okay, so validating the copy's accuracy involves hash comparison, typically using MD5 or SHA-1. Basically, MD5 and SHA-1 are very weak hashes, but we basically use for integrity, not for any other purpose. That is why we can use MD5 or SHA-1. Okay, then we can documenting hashes processing procedures is crucial and forms part of the chain of custody and forensics documentation for the case. So this is another example. So we have difference in the forensics copies and logical copies. Forensics copies are like we have the file which we where we preserve bit by bit structure of a original drive or device or of any folder. Okay, including metadata, timestamps, and related files. So that is for forensics copies. Okay, then we have logical copies. These maintain data, but not the exact original state. That is, hashing a logical copy procedure produces a different value from a forensics copy. So logical copies are, we can say these are kind of a report as well, or these can also contain some information about the file, but not the exact file. Let's say if the user has modified the file, So in the logical copies, we have the modified file. Okay, but in the forensics copy, we have the previous file as well as the modified file. Okay, or if the user deleted a file from any directory, so we cannot retrieve in with the help of logical copies. We can only have in the forensics copies. Okay, so it is a very important. That is why it is known as forensics, because we have bit by bit structure of the files or folders or drives or any image, any hard disk as well. So hashes are different or for both forensics copies or logical copies, irrespective of they are using for the same system, but hashes are different. Maintaining careful documentation is critical. Forensic suites offer have built-in documentation support, but manual processes involve images, notes, chain of custody details, and procedural steps, and hence provides information. Solid documentation prevents repudiation due to improper handling of processes, ensuring the integrity of legal cases or charges. Okay, so we should be aware about. Also, you can keep on, reading the documentation. We have various documentation for different purposes, like how to, for example, how to create a FTK image, how to take the notes of the evidences, how to find patterns, how to handle the chain of custody details, how to secure the evidence data, etc. So we can also take help of the documentation. But at the initial level, we should be skillful about this hardware, software, and forensic system. So to prevent altering devices, drives during forensics work, write blockers are used. So these are the write blockers. Write blockers are the kind of hardware or software tools which you, let's say you have applied a write blocker in your file. So a user can read a file but cannot write it. Okay, means cannot modify it. So write blockers also ensure the integrity, which is we cannot write into the file, we cannot modify the file, but we can read the file. Okay, so that we can do. Okay, then we data recovery. So data recovery is very important. Okay, uh, yeah, that is not data backup, that's data recovery. I just remember now. Data recovery using forensics technique is essential, expert for restoring lost or deleted data from the devices or drives. So that is, let's say if we have a broken form or any system, then how we can able to recover data from that system, how we can like able to fetch data from that system. So in that case, you have to know about hardware. And let's say if any file removed from the system, then how we can recover? Then in that case, you should know about softwares. So data recovery relies on the non-destructive nature of file deletion, where the file index is removed, but the data remains until overwritten. Now this point is important. That is the myth I am talking about. So if the data is not overwritten, then we can fetch it. Okay, we can fetch any data, any previous data, any historical data. But if the data is overwritten, then we cannot fetch because now the bits are overwritten there. Okay. Quick formatting in operating system also retains data as it only removes the file index. So we are just removing the file index and but we are not actually deleting the data. Okay, recovery tools locate and recover files based on metadata, headers, and fragments. So they recover on the basis of we have like a file. So they recover the parts of the file one by one until the entire file is recovered. Okay. So even partially overwritten files may be recoverable, and forensics analysts rely on this for cases involving hidden evidences. Okay, now here's a point. Even partially overwritten files may be recoverable. Let's say if you any user partially overwrite a file, so now there's also the partial part which we can recover. Okay, so in that case also we can find the evidence. Okay, so overwritten any file is not easy. So if there's a file which is overwritten, then you can say it can be intentionally also. Okay. Any attacker can perform this overwriting of files intentionally so that they can like hide the evidences. Deleted file elements are stored in slack space, providing valuable historical data about the drive's activity. Secure delete tools, often built in the OSs or available as standard loan tools, ensure secure data deletion by overriding. So we also have some tools which ensure the secure deletion of the data so that no one can recover the data in the future. Okay, and how we can like fully delete the data, because whatever we are deleting right now, that is not actually deleting. Okay, that is just removing from the index of the hard disk, but it is stored somewhere else in the slack space. So if you actually want to delete the data, so just start overwriting the files. That will like securely delete the data. So overwriting is only the factor which we can uh, in which we can ensure that data is fully deleted. In the overwriting, we cannot fetch the data, like we cannot recover the data. Data recovery from SSDs and flash media like USB is complex due to weird labeling. SSDs move data to less worn cells, even marking worn cells are as unusable. Yet these cells may still contain data. Full disk encryption mitigates this issue by securing any remaining data. So basically, we can easily perform data recovery in the hard disk, because data is hard disk is like more like it is slower than the SSDs, but in the hard disk that the disk is writing the data, and when we are removing the data from the index from the hard disk, so we are just removing the index. So, but in the SSDs, the data SSDs are like more powerful or more faster than the hard disk. So that is why in the SSD, the deleted data is stored in the very small cells, okay, which is also like unusable cells. So in that case, it is hard to fetch data from there. But also, if you have proper knowledge of SSDs, how they work, how the hard disk work, then we can easily fetch the data. Also, we can perform the full encryption so that we can recover data from the like entire data from the SSDs or the USBs. Then we have one example, which is forensic suits and a forensic case example. So one forensic suit mentioned in a security plus exam is autopsy. Autopsy is a very powerful tool and it is an open source with diverse capabilities. Starting with creating a case, importing files, and utilizing the models from analysis. Autopsy aids forensic tasks. So autopsies are like package of a forensics analysis. It create cases, it create reports, it import files, it find evidences, etc. So it offers timeline features to understand file changes and events as well. So we have the timeline feature in the autopsy. Even in the FTK major or in any other tool, we have to manually do that. But in the autopsy, which is a open source, there's a feature of timeline where we can easily find um, the changes and events. So commercial options like FTK, which is forensics toolkit, and NKs are widely used for comprehensive forensics tasks for acquisition to reporting. Okay. So commercial forensics package like FTK and NKs are critical in legal, police, and similar investigation. So also it depends on that where you are using what kind of tool, right? In the government agencies, we have some like internal tools which you can only use. You cannot use any external tools. And in some organization, you can use the external tools. So it depends on where you are using the tools and for which scenario. So it is an example of autopsy. Okay, like where we can select files, we can perform the we can create a whole disk image. We can also create VMware file, local disk file, logical files, etc. Okay, and these are the operations. These are the you can say modules in this autopsy. Okay, for example, you can notice here these features like hash lookup. So it will check for the recent activities, recent events, also email, parse a keyword for search, etc. There are like many features in autopsy. It is just an example. Then last we have reporting. So reporting is very important for the forensics. Even reporting is important in every expert in cybersecurity. If you are doing the penetration testing, if you're doing any incident handling, if you're doing anything. So reporting is very must. So forensics reporting is crucial component for the forensics process. Reporting is all about you are showing the entire process, the entire progress, as well as your evidences, how you find it, everything in a report, so that you can submit the report to higher authorities. So a well-structured report typically includes these like points. First, summary of the investigation and findings. So whatever you find, whatever you found, and whatever we have investigate, we have to put the summary there. So this session provides a high-level overview of the forensics investigation, the scope of the analysis, the key findings. Okay. So this it serves as an executive summary for those who need a quick understanding of the case. Okay. And your report should be non-technical. It should be in points always, and it should be in or it should always contain uh, like uh, uh, important points. Okay. And also it should be non-technical so that any non-technical person like the judge or the courts or the police or the prosecution can understand. Okay. Online outline of forensics process. So how you have done the forensics. So here comes the methodology of the forensics. Like how you find which tool you have used, which technique, etc. you have used. Then detailed findings. So this is one of the core of the report, which is you will put there how you will find how you have find the detailed evidences or the evidences in a detailed manner. Okay, which you have to put your entire process in that report. Like what is the first step you have performed, what is the second step, how you find this file, how you find this modification which is made by the file, sorry, made in the file, etc. Then conclusions and recommendations. So whatever the conclusions and recommendation, conclusions about the investigation, okay, about the evidences presented, and recommendation about some legal proceedings or cybersecurity improvements. Like if there's a tool which you don't want to use, or if the tool is inefficient, then you can put in the recommendation point under recommendation. Then additional details, which is optional. Depending on the audience and purpose of the report, forensics practitioners may provide an appendix of supplementary section with comprehensive technical details of the analysis. So that is, you can provide an appendix if you have used any technical word, you can provide any supplement readings, you can provide any references for further reading in this additional details. So it depends also. So it is important to note that the accuracy and integrity of the reports are paramount. Conclusions drawn must be supported by the evidences and truly documented. So whatever the conclusion we have drawn, make sure why, like we can easily answer that why we have drawn this conclusion on the basis of which evidence. So that is what we have to put truly. So proper citations of tools, techniques, and sources used during the investigation should be included. Okay. Just don't leave any tool, don't do whatever the tools we have used, internal or external, just put everything in that. Additionally, and clear language and visual switches. We can put the screenshots, we can put pie charts, we can put a graphical representation of the investigation, of the evidences, etc. Okay, like in the bar graph format, in the diagrams, etc. So forensics practitioners should tailor their reports to the needs of their intended audience. Reports for legal proceedings may need to adhere to specific guidelines, while reports for internal investigation may have different requirements. Okay, for example, if we have any official or reporting or anything for reporting for the government, then we have to follow specific guidelines. And if it's for the private sectors, for the companies, then we have some different guidelines. So they can vary. But for the government, they remain the same, but for the private, they like keep on changing, keep on updating as per the scenarios. Okay. So whatever the report we are creating, that should be comprehensive, or we can say authoritative, or we can say it should be easy to understand, easy to analyze, easy to find, and easy to read. Okay. Also, it includes graphical representation so that anyone can read that. even the non-technical person can understand your report without any uh, third-party interruption. Then you have forensics and intelligence. So apart from that evidence gathering, we have this intelligence agencies which use forensics for information gathering. So forensics play a critical role not only in legal cases, internal investigation, and incident response within organization, but also in the broader realm of strategic intelligence and counterintelligence efforts. So the analysis of digital evidences can provide invaluable insights into the actions, capabilities, and intentions of adversaries, making it a valuable tool for national defense and intelligence agencies. So also we can use forensics for the intelligence agencies. So for example, we can use APT, which is advanced threat analysis. So whatever the threats are in the market, whatever the persistent threats are in the market, whatever the tools and techniques they use, so that we have to put in that we can store in the intelligence database to understand the nature of the attacks, okay, or to understand the methods used by sophisticated attackers and formulate an effective defense or a countermeasure. So advanced threat analysis. So it is here comes every malware, every raids, okay, all kinds of methodologies the attacker uses. Then with national defense. So digital forensics can be employed to uncover cyber attacks against critical infra, military systems, and government networks. So this information is crucial for defending against ongoing and future threats. Ongoing or future threats means the threats which can come from the different countries. Okay, that is national defense. Then with counterintelligence operations, so it is all about identifying the insider threats and espionage activities within organization. Okay, like who access the whoever like bypass the login inside company, who have access the data without the permission. So we have to understand the malicious behavior of the insider, which is the employee which is working inside a company. Okay. Then we have data recovery and analysis. So we should also these organization acquire devices and systems which we can use to recover data and that can provide valuable insights. So let's see if you find any broken phone, and that is very important. So we can also submit to the intelligence agencies. Okay, like they can take it for further procedures, for further information gathering, and they can draw some insights from that valuable data or valuable evidences, and that they can use in the future. So it is all about using in the future or preparing for the future. Okay, preparing for the future attacks, preparing for the future wars. Okay, always be one step forward from everyone, etc. Encryption and advanced techniques. So intelligence and counterintelligence operations often deal with sophisticated adversaries who employ strong encryption and security measures to protect their activities. So they can also investigate on the basis of like which entities are using the strong encryption. Okay. So also for the strong encryption, you should have the powerful system. So this necessitates the use of advanced methods and tools to break encryption, analyze complex software, and recover data from highly secure systems. Okay, then adapting to changing tactics. So that is we have to keep on changing according to the scenario, according to the changing in technology, so that we can be aware about latest techniques, latest methodologies, latest techniques, tools, attacks, etc., which can be used by adversaries. Adversaries means attackers. The landscape of cyber threats involves rapidly requiring continuous learning and adaptation. Okay. So is it clear this much? Is there anything you want to ask in this for instance?
Yeah, okay, ma'am.
So just remember, so some points are
Uh,
important here for the examination. So first you have to note the purpose of the forensics. First thing. Second, what is the key aspect of the forensics? That is evidences. Okay. Third thing, why evidences are necessary and what what will happen if you leave or if anyone render or modifies the evidences. Okay, then you have to know about the cloud forensics. Okay, which is here cloud forensics and what are the risks in the cloud forensics and what are and like what kind of uh, like uh, like agreements we have to make made with the cloud service providers. Then remember these points, which is conducting forensics. What is this volatility and then this hierarchy? Okay, this one by one, which is from least to most. Okay, and then remember this point, which is the tools for the forensics copies, which is DD for the Linux, FTK mesh for the Windows, and memdem for the Linux and WinHex for the Windows. Okay, so remember the purpose of these tools. This can also come in the exam. So these are very important. Okay.
Yeah,
Then
okay.
remember the network forensics, how you can perform it. Okay, what is important in the forensics and also the other
Yeah, I worked in this IDS IPS.
sorry,
Yeah, I worked in that IDS IPS. I know about this.
this
Yeah. Yeah,
uh
intrusion
it
detection
is like
system and intrusion prevention system, right?
yes.
Yeah, I already worked in this product.
Okay. Then we're validating forensics data integrity, which is what is important for the evidences integrity, non-repudiation, and reliability of the data. That is very important. So we can use so just make sure MD5 and SHA-1 is used for the integrity. Okay, these algorithms are used. Okay, then remember these points. What is logical and forensics copies? And there's a difference in the logical and forensics and also the hashes which will generate by forensics copies and the logical copies both are very different. Even if the copies are of the same system, still the hashes are different. Okay, because those copies store the different data. Then we have data recovery, and then we have this example. Autopsy is a very important tool here for the examination. And then we have reporting, and what are the points are important for the reporting. Okay, remember this. And then this data forensics and intelligence. Okay, that's it. And it is a very easy chapter. You just have to go through this one. Okay. So is there
Yeah,
anything you want
okay.
to ask?
Yeah, no more.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Uh
Yeah.
so so let's continue tomorrow then. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So why the next weekend we will complete the entire syllabus means so up to next week, which is around 19 18 19 we will like complete the entire series, okay, of this conscious security class. Okay,
Yeah, okay, okay. Ma'am,
so
that from
tomorrow's time,
you're uploading video, right? That video I'm not able to download, ma'am. I cannot download, I can watch only, right? Can I download that one?
um no, you cannot download because we cannot provide the download permission, but you can access those videos for like any time and even you can access for the lifetime.
Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, okay, ma'am.
And I will share the questions for this forensics and that previous cryptography as well. So you can just
Yeah,
solve that questions also. Okay.
yeah, okay, okay. Okay, thanks.